Okay everybody, welcome back to part 3 of our playthrough for Metroid 2 Return of Samus, and just to reiterate, the challenge on this game is to play through and complete and beat all 39 Metroids without using any variation of the beam. So that basically means missiles only, the bomb, the screw attack, that kind of stuff is totally fine. And we've done pretty good so far. We've gotten rid of the first 13 without too much of a problem, and right about now we've got overall a pretty good stash of missiles if you count all the upgrades, but as you can clearly see, right now we've only got 4, so we need to refill pretty quickly. We're about to head into Section 3, but before we do that, we have one last missile upgrade in Section 2 to get, and as you can see, backtracking a little bit to where the first save point was, we're going to go up here, going to wait to get past these stupid enemies here, and we're going to have a couple enemies I want to talk about. We've already seen this one. I mentioned that this one will home in on you. Well, that's actually not true. I did some more research. That one moves in a diamond-shaped pattern, so it can be avoided. It will not home in on you. Just watch the pattern. You can clearly see right here it's moving in a diamond, so when it's safe, move past with the spider ball, go over here to the left, and you're going to see here is the final missile upgrade for Section 2 that we missed over. We said that we skipped it. Nah, we didn't. We just couldn't get it from where we were at the time, so back out of there when it's safe and continue doing a little bit of backtracking. We're going to go over here and then back down this little ledge. And we're going to finally move all the way back over to the right, past some more of these diamond robot enemies here, and we can completely backtrack. We're done with Section 2 completely. So we're now going to move into what I will deem as Section 3. And yes, just to point something out, I know that technically the game calls these phases and I'm calling them sections. The reason I call them sections is because I don't really think the surface area counts as a real section. So, by the way, remember this part right here? I mentioned that these are real enemies and I didn't want to find out if they hurt us. Well, it turns out they are enemies, but the real problem with them is that if you step on them and don't move, they will sink you completely down into the sand, forcing you to use a weapon or a bomb to get out of there. Not really that big of a deal. So here we're just backtracking some more, getting into an area that we've previously been, but now it's going to be emptied because we've taken care of all of the enemies here. So right now we're backtracking just a little bit more, of course, moving all the way over with the ball, of course. We're going to continue going over, past through the right, past the hatchling pods, going down some more. You're going to see some more enemies that are kind of similar but a little bit different, and we've seen those before, obviously. The little torpedoes from the ceiling. Continue moving down through the little cavernous areas here in a snakely S-like pattern. Keep on rolling, rolling, rolling. Not too difficult. This is pretty straightforward. Normally, you're going to go this way. Now, when you kill some more enemies, eventually you'll be able to go left, after we get about another 9 to 10 more Metroids, of course. But that's not going to happen for quite a while. So we're going to continue moving over this way to the right, and now we encounter a section with some more ominous ambient music. I tend to think of Metroid 2 as very ambient in nature, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I just kind of wish that this game had more actual composed background music as opposed to the ambience, but that's just me. Some people actually really like this kind of thing. Anyway, moving forward here, we are still on the ball, we're still moving forward. Here's a new type of enemy we haven't seen before. If you have a upgraded beam, they're not too difficult to kill. Obviously, that's a problem for us, so we have to just kind of avoid them or burn missiles. By the way, we only got 14, so obviously we have to conserve our ammo. I will say that there is a missile, not upgrade, but a missile refill coming up. We haven't seen one of those in quite a while, and we are going to see exactly how many missiles that we have in our tank. And wait till you see just all of those missile upgrades we've been picking up. There's a reason for it, and you're going to see exactly how many we have in just a moment here. Alright, as we keep moving through this section here, we are now entering another small area, transitional area, which is the small corridor with some sand. And now we're going to have another spawning vat here, and you've seen these before, obviously. Feel free to take them out if you have the missiles to do so. Obviously, we don't. We could use bombs, but I think we're in okay shape. And the reason why is because we're going to have a nice little energy tank, energy refill, missile refill, a whole lot of good stuff coming up here. So, point being, when you get into this room finally, you're going to go down to the bottom left and start bombing the sand. And there's a very good reason. At the very bottom left to be specific, you're going to find a missile upgrade, and you're going to see, again, exactly how many missiles you have in your storage here. Right now it shows we have about, what, 14, if I'm reading the terrible font choice correctly, and you're going to see in about 2 seconds exactly how many we have on our base. So that would be, whoa, 160, which is pretty dang good. Now, I will say that technically you could have 170 by this point. There is one missile upgrade that we didn't get. We could go back and get it if we were really anal and wanted every single upgrade in the game, which would be nice, but 160, I'm not going to complain. Technically, if you want to look far ahead to the final boss, the Queen Metroid, you only need 150. So technically, we have enough to beat her already. but obviously more is better because you're going to have some other Metroids in the way before you get to her. Now, continuing on, as you can see, we're going to go into the next sand pit and bomb down to the bottom left once again. And down here, there will not be a missile restore, but there will be a piece to Samus's suit that we want, which will make her mobility even better than it currently is. So we're going to continue moving through the sand over to the left. Just a couple more pieces of sand to bomb through here, and just watch what happens when we get up there. Having the high jump will be very nice to easily get up of here. Of course, you could use the spider ball if you really wanted to. But get up here, here's an upgrade. What is it? Let's shoot it, and we find it is the space jump. Now, the space jump has been around since the original Metroid. Obviously, it's continued on into other Metroid games as well, but the way it works is as soon as Samus starts to descend from a jump, you hit jump once again, and she will jump in the air. And if you know what you're doing, kind of like this, you can jump continuously forever. The only catch is that she cannot get hit, or it will essentially end the space jump. And if she falls too far in her initial jump in velocity, then she will not be able to continue to space jump either. So, keep that in mind. A very nice upgrade to have. Dare I say you cannot complete the game without it. I don't know for sure, but certainly it is a very, very essential piece of equipment to have. Alright, so now that we've gotten it, we can get almost every other thing that we need in this section here, if not everything. So we're going to go ahead and continue on forward here. We're going to bomb straight up. You could use missiles. We certainly have enough at this point. We could use some in excess. 159 right now. Now, what are we going to do? Obviously, we're looking for the Metroids. I will tell you, obviously, there are a couple alphas. There are mostly gammas in this section, and no other Metroids that we haven't seen yet. Those will come in the next section or two. But anyway, continuing onward here, up here, there will be a little pit that we could descend into. We're going to save that for later because we have some other good stuff we want to get before that. So just go down here. I recommend rolling into a ball. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hug the left wall. You're going to turn into a spider ball, go up, bomb this rock, get out of the way. When it's safe, go in there, roll off the screen, and check what you get. Ooh, there's an energy tank. Now, how do we get to it? Bomb the block, right? Now, here's the problem. When you bomb it, there is going to be a hole right there. So this is meant to tick you off. How are you going to get to it? Well, it's going to require the spider ball or very tricky maneuvering. It can be done, but it's extremely frustrating. But anyway, there's our third energy tank. So now we have a nice little arsenal of health. That's pretty nice. And I believe there's another one we're going to get in this section as well. You think that's enough? Hell no, I want more. By the way, there's that missile upgrade you saw when we came down the first time down that hill. Down that hole, I should say. So we're going to continue. Now we're going to go backwards. We're going to move up and bomb this hole and just continue to move up where we came from. And we're going to go all the way down this hole that we were falling down initially with the spikes. And we'll continue onward here. And I will tell you, down here there is a Gamma Metroid. So we're just going to take it out and go ahead and proceed to backtrack all the way up that hole. Now you might be wondering, how in the world are we going to get up there when there's spikes on the walls and enemies on the other side? Well, you're going to find out. That's where the space jump will most likely come into handy here. And we're going to keep pushing through the sand. We're just about ready. There we go. We're going to move through to this passage here into an empty room, empty corridor, shaft, whatever you want to call it. We're going to go basically all the way to the bottom, and we're going to find our very first Metroid of the section here. And as you can clearly see, well, there we go. Looks like an alpha. Nope, it is a Gamma Metroid. So as we know, 10 shots of the missile will do the trick, and there's a number of ways you can get it gone. Just shoot it straight up in the air. That's a good strategy. Jump and shoot. Whatever works for you works for me. I don't care. Just take it out and get rid of it. So that takes care of the first one. 9 more to go in this particular section. So there is nothing else to get here in terms of health, power-ups, armor upgrades, missiles, what have you. So we just have to go out the way we came and then go back up through that annoying sand. And unfortunately, unless we want to waste missiles, hint, hint, we don't, the only way to get out of there is to use the bombs. I wish we had the screw attack at this point, but of course that's not for a long time from now. If I'm reading my map correctly, I don't think we get the screw attack until section number 7, and we're only in, what, 3, 4, somewhere in there? Yeah, we got quite a ways to go. So we're going to do some painful bombing to get up out of the sand here, and then we'll do some backtracking, which will be skipped and edited out, thankfully. But there are a couple things I want to show you here before we get to that point. So obviously, get out of here. We're going to use the space jump. Now, as I say, clearly we can't use the spider ball because of the spikes on the wall. Now, you might wonder, what are those enemies on the right-hand side? Well, those are called proboscum enemies, if I'm not mistaken. And the reason they're called that is because they have noses, or proboscis, if my Latin is correct. that stick out just like that, and you could use them if your space jump fails, like mine is doing horrifically there, to get yourself out of there, and that can help you without having to fall all the way down. So unfortunately, the only real way to get out of there short of lucky high jumping is the space jump, and because we're failing epically here, we're just going to edit this part out until we get out of here, and we will see you on the flip side. Okay, we finally get out of that hellhole. That wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was. So we're going to continue over left. Now we're going to go down this pit that we skipped over the first time. And a couple things we're going to do down here. First thing is go straight down. You can go off to the left or right. It does not make a difference either way, but there is a missile upgrade down here that we want to get. So just continue to bomb everything. If we had the wave beam, or really any beam, that would be exponentially better than what we're doing right now, but what can I say? We have to do the challenge the way it is listed. We cannot use anything but these bombs or missiles, and we sure as hell are not going to waste the missile if we can help it. So this is what we are reduced to. Now we've only got one, maybe two more pieces of sand we have to blow up. Just one right next to the missile. You can see it right there blinking through the sand. There it is. Get the upgrade. Now we're going to head over to the left and bomb this side over here. We're going to continue on with the next part of this game here. Now I will tell you there is a save point right there. You can use it if you need to. We're not going to do that, but we are going to go down here. Now down this pit there are another couple upgrades for Samus. Unfortunately both of them are beam upgrades, and as we know we can't use them, so I'm not even going to bother with them. But I will point out that they're down there if you were playing a normal game. So first thing is go off to the right. There is another Gamma Metroid up there. We're going to bypass it and completely fall through the floor here. But we're going to come back up, and we haven't even activated it. It doesn't even know that we're here. Now it does. Alright, so Gamma Metroid, once again, 10 shots. Once again, what I'd like to do is get over on this side of it, or you could shoot it from the top or the bottom. Either way does not matter. At this point, we've grown pretty accustomed to taking out these Gammas. Only 10 missiles needed. We've got quite a good stockpile. Not too difficult. Now, before we continue on with the next part, we're going to jump, turn into a spider ball here, roll all the way up to the top, and bomb this top right section here. There will be yet another missile upgrade that we can acquire. So we're going to do that while we have the chance. Right now, just a lot of sneaky spider ball movements, and there we go. That wasn't too tough, now that we know how to do the spider sneak. And we're going to move back down here, and we're going to drop all the way down to the bottom here, and we're going to go through the floor sand. Go ahead and bomb it, move down, and I will point out a couple things here. We have a robot that we could kill if we wanted to. Oops, that was a mistake. We're going to bomb our way back down. Now, a few things once we get back down here. You can go left or right. You will need to go both ways. We're going to start off going left. There is another Metroid over here to the left. It is another Gamma. I'll just point it out. And we can use these blocks to the right to kind of barricade ourselves against the Gamma and get some easy shots in here. So maybe this section is pretty good. Try not to shoot the blocks because although they are helpful against the Gammas, they will disappear because they can be shot. So play this section very carefully. Use this strategically to your advantage, and you shouldn't end up taking more than a hit or two at most. So that one's gone. We've taken out 3 of the Metroids in this section. We're down to 23 total. If you were to keep moving over to the left, you would encounter another beam upgrade for Samus. It would be the phaser beam, if I'm not mistaken, which is a nice beam to have. Obviously, we can't get it, so I'm not going to bother wasting any more breath on it. Continue over to the right. Get this missile upgrade right in plain sight. Shouldn't be any reason you can't get it. We're going to continue moving over to the right. Get past this stupid enemy here. Jump on over and up, and there's a few more things I will point out. So we're going to have this vertical shaft here with spikes on either side. Use the space jump to get up there, or you could hit a spike, take a damage boost. Either way works, doesn't matter, honestly. Keep moving over here. You'll have a few more enemies. You'll have some gasoline fire droppers, whatever you want to call those. So wait till you have an opening, jump through. There is a false ceiling up here. Take yourself up with a spider ball, bomb the top piece right there, and then continue to move over to the left. And we're going to have another hidden section of this map here with another Metroid that we have to kill. So it is necessary to go this way. Now, what kind of Metroid is it? Thankfully, it's just an Alpha Metroid. So it's kind of disappointing at this point in the game after having taken on so many Gammas. Only 5 will do the trick. We're going to keep going left, though. And the reason why, there is another nice little pickup. You probably saw it up there. That was an energy tank. So, yeah, that's interesting, right? We've got 2 energy tank upgrades in one section of the game, probably within 5-10 minutes of each other. So that's a nice little upgrade, obviously. So that gives us 4 energy tanks, and of course, anytime you pick one up, it will completely fill your energy to full. So we're going to backtrack all the way back to where we came from. We've gotten everything we need at this point. So continue to backtrack all the way over to the right, and once we get back down there to the initial point where we came in, we will chime back in. Okay, we're just about back to the point where we need to complete the backtracking here, but before we completely get out of here and go back into the main cavern corridor, as I call it, we're going to refill our missiles one final time. And I know what you're thinking. Right now we've got, what, 157, which is a pretty good stash, and certainly more than enough to finish off the remaining Metroids here. But to my knowledge, we're not going to have another missile recharge until at least Section 6, maybe even Section 7. So it's probably best now to go ahead and refill it, because getting ourselves up to 200 missiles plus will give us an excuse to be able to use some of those missiles against regular enemies in case we get low on energy, or if we even start to get low on missiles. Bottom line, it gives us some more variety in our attacking versus just the standard bombs. So definitely worth it. We have the time. I know it's kind of tedious, so we're going to skip through it and we'll see you on the flip. Okay, we finished that backtracking up, so we go back to the main phase here. We're going to go down a little bit, and now we're going to go over to the right, which is a section we skipped over initially in favor of going north. But now we're going to take this section over here, and as you go down a little bit, you will see there is a save point. You could use it if you need to, but instead we're going to go ahead and move down into the next section here, and you're going to see a bit of a treacherous path. You're going to have some opportunities to get some beams, which of course we can't get. And there are some spiky bushes, I guess you would say, and we can't touch those. You can kill them, obviously, but you cannot touch them, so just be aware of that. Next phase we're going to have right over here. Now this is another Gamma Metroid. Obviously, do what you have to do. Probably move in a little bit to take out this Metroid so it doesn't push you back through the entrance here and make you waste a whole bunch of missiles. This one's not too bad. You could use that ledge right there to give you some additional cover if necessary, but we managed to get through it, not too much of a problem, and that's going to drop us down to 21 remaining Metroids. Now, to move on forward here, there are some blocks. Take a guess what to do. That's right, bomb right through. Head through to the south, continue on over to the right side, and onward with the rest of the map. And we're going to have another section you can go up or down, and with this particular section I'm checking my offline map and we're going to head upwards here. You can utilize the high jump or the space jump. I just love the space jump, so take use of it, make use of it, and don't get hit like I just did multiple times. You can damage boost yourself up here. You're going to continue to go up north, and you're going to find this little lattice honeycomb area. And what's interesting about this, by the way, here's another simple 5-shot Alpha Metroid. This chain link structure will absorb any missiles that you shoot into it, so you would probably be best to blow it up with bombs if you have the ability to do so. Obviously, that's easier said than done when you've got Metroids coming after you, but thankfully, again, it was an alpha, so not too difficult here. Now, once you have the alpha out of the way, there will be another area to go into and another Metroid you got to get ready for. So go straight up, over, down. Here's another Metroid pod here. Now, you could head over to the right and will lead you to the Gamma, but it is a dead end. So instead, go through the south through this pod, and ooh, check this out. Here's a Gamma Metroid this time, and you have the lattice honeycomb structure in the way to absorb your shots. So this is going to be very ugly. You need to very quickly get in there and bomb and destroy as much holes and as many openings as you can to make room for shots here so that they do not get absorbed when you do go to fire missiles. Now, you think this is enough, right? Well, check this out. This next little rinky-dink part is going to be annoying. Once you go off screen, those sections that you blew up, yeah, they respawn. So you need to blow up the structure and keep on the same part of the screen, so you need to avoid that respawning. It's extremely annoying. Stay down there, do not go off screen, and just fire away without being in the way of the lattice honeycomb structure. It can be done, and truth be told, it's not that difficult. It's just more annoying than anything else. There's nothing else in this particular section to worry about, so just take care of the Gamma, get back out through the hatchling pod up north, and continue with the spider ball all the way up and over out the way that you came in. So that's 2 Metroids down. We now have 3 more to go in this particular section, or section 4 as I would call it, and then we're going to continue on with the rest of the game here. Now, in order to move forward, you need to move down, back through the hole, and I'm just checking the offline map here in case you're wondering what the heck I'm doing. And I believe we're ready to go now. So we're going to go down the hole. Watch out for these little thorn bushes here. And we're going to continue to go down. Watch out for those little areas here, those little enemies here. And we're checking our map again, going across. There are no Metroids in this room, although it looks very similar. So we're just going to continue to move over this way. Now, this section goes straight down. Do not touch that thorn bush on the left-hand side. It will damage you. So just continue to fall all the way down. And once you get all the way down to the bottom of this little pit chasm, you're going to go to the left, and you will find yourself in another pit of sorts. And you want to go all the way down to the bottom until you eventually trigger the fight with this Gamma here. And oh, look at that. We got some spiked bushes down here you got to deal with as well. So what I like to do here is get myself onto a far ledge on the left or the right where it's safe and then just blast away at this stupid thing. As long as he's not shooting at me with his stupid electrical beams, it should be fairly simple to take that one out. And obviously we've got plenty of missiles here. We're getting a little bit low on health, but that is not that big of a deal because as you're going to see right down here, if you're very tricky, ooh, check that out. I don't know how we pulled that off without getting hurt. Go all the way down there and start getting rid of these spiked bushes here. And check this out. In the top right, there is an energy refill, and we very much need it because we were running low on health. So that's pretty nice. We recently refilled our missiles, and we just recently got our health refilled. So now we're in very good shape to take out the remaining 2 Metroids in this section before moving on to the remainder of what we're going to do in this part of the video here. So to get out of here, we're just going to climb up, obviously. We're going to keep going up as far as we possibly can, and then eventually we're going to make our way over to the left to get the final 2 Metroids of this section here. So check out what we do. Just checking the offline map really quick to make sure I know the exact location of these 2, and I'm pretty sure I know exactly where I'm going, but I'm going to keep moving over. We have these little black jelly bean blinking thingamabobs. I don't know their actual names. If anyone does, please correct me. I'm sure somebody out there in YouTube land knows. Alright, now here we go. We have another Gamma Metroid, but in order to get to this one from this location, we're going to have to blast up or just jump up through the destroyed Metroid hatchling pod. And again, another Gamma, just blast away at it. This one shouldn't be too tough. We pretty much figured out that even though it takes 10 missiles, it's not too bad. And this is not a good section to be with the spiked bushes right ahead of us, but it's not that big of a deal, honestly. It's gone. All right, we have one more left to go, and as memory serves me correctly, I believe it's one more Gamma, and this is not too difficult at this point. In order to get to it, check this out. That looks like a brick wall, right? Do not let that fool you. That is a wall you can pass through. Just make sure you take out these bushes here because they will hurt you very badly. So you can do it this way, or you can blast them with missiles. Obviously, we want to conserve our missiles if we can. So we're going to jump up here through the floor. It's going to come up through a Metroid hatchling pod. We're going to keep on going up here until eventually we will come upon the final Gamma Metroid. It's way up here. Just be very cautious. Conserve your energy. Conserve your missiles. We are very close to it at this point. You're going to keep going up all the way. You're going to jump over to the left, and we will find it over in this section right about here. It should be triggered right there. We go. There's our final Gamma. Take it out just like all the others. At this point, you know what to do. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, I would say the biggest problem at this point is making sure you have enough missiles, and certainly we do. And that's going to take care of the final Metroid for section number 3 or 4. I honestly don't remember what phase we're in right now, but we are done with that one. This is section 3, forgive me. Alright, and that should trigger the earthquake. Sure enough, yes it does. Alright, now you're going to go up this way. You're going to come out through a floor, a spiked floor. But I don't know why it happened that way, but it is what it is, as I always like to say. And now we are good to move on to section number 4 of the game. And you're going to find out that the next couple sections actually have very few Metroids in them. But the biggest problem you're going to deal with is the hazards and the enemies leading up to the Metroids. So in order to get to section number 4, as I will call it, is you're going to backtrack a little bit. You're going to go through this section that we've already seen once or twice. Continue to backtrack up through here. Don't go the wrong way, obviously. And we're getting pretty close to where we're going to start moving into section 4. Now, you know you've seen this area before. We're going to keep moving over to the left, continue to backtrack, and eventually, when it becomes safe, we're going to start moving down. And right about here, I believe, pretty close, maybe a little bit past this, there was a lava pit off to the far left. And you'll see, it's right around here over left. This used to be a lava pit. It is now completely empty, of course. Now we're going to go down this way. And we're going to follow it down and along. And I will tell you right now that this next section, section number 4, only has one Metroid, if my memory serves me correctly. And as I said, the toughest part of this is going to be just watching out for the enemies that will be in the way. And you're going to see some interesting enemies coming out of the wall. Here is the Metroid pod, so we know we're getting close already. And like I said, one Metroid, it will trigger another earthquake, in which case we'll be backtracking yet again. Now, how do we get to this last Metroid? Check this out. These are some very ugly, annoying enemies that kind of resemble, if you've ever seen Star Wars A New Hope, Episode 4, remember in this scene with the tavern, they had that one enemy that had the two eyeball stalks that just came out of his head, like kind of like giraffe eye. If you've seen Star Wars, you know what I'm talking about, right? I'll throw the picture up there. I'm sure somebody knows exactly what I mean. Anyway, we're going to keep on moving left. You just have these stupid, ugly enemies here that flop around and fly in the air left and right, like those sea enemies that we've seen early on in Section 1 and 2. The only difference is they cause more damage and they can jump in the air a little bit higher, but just deal with them. They're not too bad. They don't shoot any fireballs or projectiles. You could walk through the lava, honestly. It's probably safer and deals less damage than actually fighting them head on. So take whatever strategy you will and you want. And, ooh, check this out. We've already lost 2 energy tanks, and we have only fought 1 Metroid since the energy refill. Maybe 2, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, moving on through Section 4 here, it's just a lot of moving up, left, and right around these corridors. It is very, very linear. There's only one way to go, and you're going to see exactly where we will go. And we're going to keep on moving. We've seen these enemies before. They look like E.T. spaceships with the long eye stalks. Man, I really don't know what they were thinking when they come up with these enemy types, but whatever. Shoot them, jump over them, whatever you got to do. They're very, very simplistic to avoid here. You can go all the way down in these pits, jump over them, whatever you need to do to avoid them. Yeah, not a whole lot to be said here. Just keep on moving around. They're the only enemy types you're going to see pretty much throughout the entirety of this whole section here. And right around here, we're going to have the final Metroid, and the only Metroid, I should say, of Section 4. It is another Gamma. Just 10 shots will do it, and there's many ways to take it down. You can shoot it head on. You can go in this little pit here, right in between, right there. Just shoot straight up. That's probably, honestly, the safest way to do it, but I'm feeling kind of frisky here, so we're just going to take it down straight away. And that is it. Believe it or not, there are no Samus suit power-ups here. There are no other weapon, energy refill, missile refills to get. That's it. Just the one Mega Metroid here, the Gamma. And there's your Earthquake. We are done with Section 4 for all intents and purposes. We just have to backtrack all the way to where we came from. We're going to go even further back to Section 2, the passageway from Section 2 to 3, and then we're going to take another path down into Section 5, where we only have a couple more Metroids to get rid of before traversing into Section 6. So yes, I know, quite a few sections here we're knocking out, because not many of them are worth discussing here. So we're just going to backtrack a little bit even more. We just have a few annoying E.T. Metroid types to avoid. So ignore the jump, and we will see you back in the end of Section 2. When we continue into Section 5. Okay, what I'm about to do here is completely optional. I could move on to Section 5 right now, but I am going to move back into Section 3, and we're going to completely refill our health and our missiles. As you can probably see, I'm getting extremely low on both of them right now. I'm playing very, let's just say, not safe and smart. So I know where the missile and energy refills are in Section 3 here, or Section 2. I honestly forget what section this is. Yeah, it's definitely Section 3. Alright, so we've gotten our missiles refilled up to 200, which is awesome. Now we're going to go get the energy refill, which we just made a mistake on. So space jump yourself all the way up to the top, just like you saw right there in hyperspeed. Now we are pretty dang good. We have full health, full missiles for the most part, and we can finally move into Section 5. Here we go. We're moving into a spiked shaft area, spiky cavern. Don't get hit by the spikes, obviously. And just avoid the simple enemies here that move left and right. And we are now ready to move into the beginning of Section 5. We have 15 Metroids left to go out of 39. We've taken down a very good chunk of them. And once again, much like Section 4, this is a very linear path. You could take out these enemies here with missiles if you want, or just play very cautiously and scoot by them. That's what I'm choosing to do right now. So you can see there are 2 Metroid pods, 2 Metroids for the entire section, and that's very good because, let's be honest, it's always great to get through a section unscathed if possible here. The toughest part of this section will be the enemies and the hazards leading up to the Metroids, because at this point, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. The 2 Metroids you're about to see are nothing we haven't faced already. It's 1 Gamma and 1 Alpha. So the first one, we're going to opt to go this way up and around. It doesn't matter which way you go, left or right. They will both lead to the same area. This thing is an enemy with a mask. Kill it from the rear. And that was kind of nice. Gave us a nice little health upgrade. that's the only tricky enemy. Once you know you can only shoot it from the rear, you're pretty good to go. Now, these things are like the Mega Man 2 blocks, or the Mega Man blocks from the NES franchise that will disappear and reappear. So just be very cautious, careful of those. Even if you fall into the lava water down below, it's not a big deal. You're not going to take a lot of damage. And heck, you can just space jump your way across anyway, so what's the point? There we are. We're pretty much done. Now you're going to go all the way down to the bottom, and you're going to see the first of the 2 Metroids. By the way, there's a missile refill over there. This is a Gamma Metroid. This is the one that requires 10 missiles, obviously. This shouldn't be too rough to kill. Just get yourself into a safe area. You could probably go right over there and just shoot it and kill it. Now, I'm not playing very smart here, unfortunately, but you could probably get it right there. There we go. And that should be pretty simple now. Just don't get it from the rear, and you should be able to get the 10 missile shots pretty simply. There we go. And we've got a nice little free missile refill right there. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the other Metroid we're about to take out, which is in fact an Alpha, will have an energy refill. So when we take that one out, we can get the energy refill, and we'll be at full power and full missile capacity before we move into Section 6, if you can believe that. So we're going to do a little bit of backtracking, and we'll move into Section Alpha Metroid, I should say, and then we can finally go into Section 6 here, and I believe that's where we're going to pause this part of the challenge for this video here. So we'll do a little bit more backtracking, and then we'll see you for the final part Metroid. Okay, not too much of a backtrack there. We're finally where we need to be. We went back to the section where we had the diversion split with the 2 pods there, and now we're taking the alternate path. We're going to move up, 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 up and around. Pretty linear path, just like the other one was. The only difference was, yeah, now we have these little throwaway blocks that will float in the air, and you can opt to jump over to them, or you can just be very simple and bypass them altogether with a space jump here. I honestly don't know what the point of all this is. You don't take any damage from them. You just have to time your space jumps perfectly, and it's not that difficult in the first place. Alright, now I believe we're finally where we need to be. We're going to go down south, continue to go down. There's your energy refill for after the upcoming battle. Here it is. It is an Alpha Metroid, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the final Alpha Metroid in the game, so enjoy it now. Boom, done, gone. Alright, that's going to take care of that, and I believe we're going to get yet another earthquake. Go ahead and refill the energy one final time before backtracking yet again. And here it comes. Yes, that's another earthquake, signaling we can go into Section 6 now. Alright, so once again, continue to backtrack, and we will show you where the next area to go is to move on to Section 6. And I'll just make this really simple for you guys. There was a lot of unnecessary backtracking and a couple mistakes I made because I misread my offline map. So I will tell you this. You're going to backtrack to the area where you had that small cavern and you've traversed it quite a few times. So we will backtrack to that specific area and we will see you in the next area where we will get ready for Section 6. Okay, the backtracking is finally finished just about, so we are now at the area right before Section 3 where that linear path led. We're going back, we're going to go back one final screen, and we're now going to have an area we will now be able to go south, which is right here, and you're going to see there is a fishbone enemy, which usually only appears in areas where lava has recently been expelled from. And now we're going to head down south, and we're going to see what we have in store for us down here. And a lot of these enemies are pretty much the same, but we will be seeing some brand new ones that will be spewing fire projectiles at us. It's definitely starting to get a little bit tougher than you're used to. You're going to see enemies coming out of the wall like you would have seen right there. Very tight passageway here with some enemies that aren't really tough per se, but they're going to start to show up more in abundance, let's just say. Enemies that come up from the walls, from the ceilings. You still have those torpedo bat enemies that come out from the ceiling. And pretty soon, you're going to see what I'm talking about here in this next screen. What do we got that's brand new? Oh, we got this little bat-like enemy here. Okay, so that's not too bad. Just jump over it, but they will drop these little bombs at us. And then you got these dragon bird heads that shoot projectiles at us. So you can fight them traditionally. If you had the beam, it's not a bad play. But why bother fighting them when you can just simply space jump over all that garbage? Because that's exactly what I just did right here. Space jump over everything. Not too tough when you've got that in your arsenal here. Now, this is something you haven't seen before. The only way to get through, bomb them, right? Wrong. You need to actually blast them with missiles. That's the only way you can get through, so just be aware of that. Shoot them out, and check this out. It will blast the block out and just kind of disappears. So that's kind of a unique mechanic. Pretty much the same thing, just have it go away. Alright, continue to go up here. Some new enemies we haven't seen before, enemies on the wall. Just keep moving on through. We are basically in section 6 right now. And we are just about at the end of this video here, and the save point is not too far ahead. I think the only thing we have to worry about is one final Metroid right before we get to it, so bear with us while we take it out. I think it's going to be a Gamma Metroid right up ahead. By the way, in Section 6, you're going to have not only Gamma Metroids, but a brand new Metroid, which is stronger that we haven't seen yet, which will take 20 missiles to kill. More on that in the next video. Wait till you see it. Okay, right over here, right in front of us, is the final Gamma Metroid for this section, or at least for this video, I should say. It's the first Gamma Metroid of Section 6. So take it out with 10 missiles. Of course, there is no way to dodge it or get out of the way, but not too tough. We know what to do at this point. That's going to drop us down to 12 total remaining Metroids. Kind of impressive to see where we came from, right? And at this point, we're just going to look for the save, and it's not too far away from us. We're going to head over to the left. We're going to go through this spiky, fiery area, whatever you want to call that. You will take damage from it. I don't know of any way to get through it with current equipment without taking damage. So go through, jump up here, space jump your way all the way up, high jump, whatever you got to do. It really doesn't matter. Right through this corridor, and here's our save point. We will see you in the next part of this video. Take care. Have a good one.